Howdy, our project is called The Effects of Renewable Energy on Wildlife Diversity. We are undergraduate students at Texas A&M University, and this project is for Dr. Stacey Lyle's GNSS in the Geosciences course. My fellow researchers are Garrett, Travis, Leslie, and Nathan. This research will investigate the optimal locations of solar panels that can be installed on a property while not disturbing the environment of local deer population. This is for the nearby Army base Fort Hood to become dependent on renewable energy. The base has been approaching local homeowners about potential land leases for constructing solar panels. The property in Rumbley, Texas, located approximately 15 miles west of the base, is the property in question for this research. The current use of this property is for deer leasing. The landowner is concerned about the construction of the solar panels may permanently drive the deer away from the property. So with this in mind, the research seeks to find a suitable area on the property where solar panels can be installed without disrupting the deer population. For reference, this is a satellite image of Fort Hood in the bottom right corner with the location of the research marked by the yellow pin. And this is a close-up of the property. As you can see, the terrain of the property with a lot of greenery in the hills and areas of flat land. Fort Hood is an Army base located in Killeen, Texas, from which representatives were sent to nearby property in Lampasas County in hopes of finding a location for them to install solar panels to supply energy to the base. The problem is to figure out the balance between ideal placement for the most energy versus trying not to disrupt the deer population that is present on the property. About 97% of Texas is privately owned land, and a lot of this land is used for deer lease operations, making it very important for many landowners as this is part of their income. Taking away some of the animals' habitats poses a problem to the effectiveness of the land. But to maximize the efficiency of solar panels, they will be needed to place facing south, since it is the direction that gets the most direct sunlight most of the year. With these two variables, they will be compared for the optimal locations of sunlight for the solar panels along with the least used areas of the deer, giving us the best possible location to please both parties. For this research, we set out to use a drone with a camera to capture the layout of the property in Rumbley, which is in Lampasas County. These images from the aerial unit will be uploaded and pieced together to create the land's terrain aspect map showing the slope of the land. These images will also show us where the deer reside on the property. This will be completed in 4 phases. Phase 1, scouting. Phase 2, GPS location. Phase 3, drone collection. And Phase 4, processing. These will be explained a little bit in the next few slides. During Phase 1, satellite imagery from Google Earth and Texas Natural Resources Information System will be used to determine the location of deer trails. This step highlights the high traffic areas as well as provides a general layout of the property. Phase 2 will involve collecting the locations of identified deer trails by utilizing an iPhone 7 made by Apple. Art Collector, an ESRI developed mobile spatial data collection application, will also be used to collect deer trails and other notable features. In Phase 3, it requires collecting aerial imagery of the property via drone. Specifically, the DJI Mavic Air 2 will be used. This drone will be programmed to fly over the property in a pattern that optimally covers the full extent of the area to be surveyed. This will be achieved by drone deploy. In Phase 4, the 2D ortho map rendered will be processed in ArcMap, a GIS software developed by ESRI. By further processing the imagery, the terrain aspect of the map will be produced. So, due to COVID-19 pandemic, we were not able to gain access of the property for in-person surveying. Instead, we were provided with drone data imagery that developed by Dr. Lyle. In total, the image reflects approximately 2.6 acres of land and consisted of 42 geolocated JPG photos, but to combine these photos, the software Autodesk Recap was used to create a GeoTIFF. And then to the right is the GeoTIFF when it is imported into ArcGIS Pro. On this slide, the map to your left is the terrain aspect measured in the downward slope direction. As seen by the yellow color that dominates the image, most of the land has a slope that faces eastward. Next, we needed to identify any features on the image that could potentially represent deer trails. We opted to identify potential features and conduct our analysis from there. On the map to your right, there are two yellow lines on the far right of the image. Those yellow lines denote two potential deer trails that both indicate travel to and from dense vegetation. The map to your left contains all the features present on the previous map, with only difference being the addition of a 100-yard buffer around the deer trails. This specific measurement was used because it was part of the results published by a recent study from Colorado State University. In this guide, the figure of 100 yards is portrayed as the minimum distance from human-induced activity that should be from animal occupation. As a result, much of the land is covered by the buffer, and by the standards used in this research, that particular land is deemed as unsuitable for construction. Now, the image to your right is a close-up of the small section to be analyzed that was not covered by the buffer. This recommendation of construction on this land is inconclusive. This is because much of the small section consists of trees and other foliage that is common to deer habitats. If we were to issue a recommendation on this section of land, we would need to do an in-person survey and look at the current conditions of the land and the potential for the land of being a deer habitat. Now, this last map shows the terrain aspect overlaid with the deer trails and their respective buffers. This would be a map that would determine where the construction of solar panels would occur. Now, to conclude, the project was not fully completed because of the COVID-19 difficulty. Based on the data that we have obtained and researching some scientific articles, this location provided would not be an adequate site for solar panels, mainly due to the fact that you want southern-facing slope for the solar panels, but the images indicate eastward. Also, the area would have been much larger to be able to power an army base. So future add-ons for this project are bigger area of research, having able to be on the land and fly the drone to see and walk the deer trails, and having access to the right softwares. So thank you for watching this presentation, and now I would like to end with a quote from votescholar.org. It says, "When there's a huge solar energy spill, it's just called have a nice day." Thanks, and gig 'em.